Ed Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a preview for the Sony A7C. Now, this was announced during Monday Night Football, so forgive me for not jumping on this as soon as Sony's PR team informed me of the official launch. We all knew it was coming, and I really think this is significant. For those of you that don't understand this launch, I can understand why, and then for those of you that are happy about it, I completely concur. And I say that because if you were waiting for a Sony A7000 series camera, this essentially is that camera. Yes, it's full frame. It's basically the A7 Mark III crammed into a traditional APS-C Sony body, but I don't see anything wrong with that. Now, if you're a professional and you don't need this and you're scratching your head as to why they even made it, it's not made for you. That's obvious. Sony is going after a different market with this. In fact, I kind of see this as the perfect camera in their lineup for all the people that I constantly mention may want to transition at one point, at a future date, from APS-C to full frame. And I feel like this is the exact camera that delivers that. Now, it is launching with a brand new kit, 28 to 60 millimeter f4 lens, which is a little bit curious, but I think it's because it matches the fit and finish, the balance of the camera, basically, as well as Sony could do so. And this isn't the lightest full frame or the smallest full frame camera ever made. Clearly, the RX1 I have here still is the lightest and smallest full frame camera, but it's not interchangeable in terms of a lens system. 10 frames per second, 4K at 30p, no overheating. The autofocus system, essentially what is the current autofocus system in the A7R4. So that's really impressive, unlike the A7 Mark III. As you can see, eye autofocus both with humans and animals as well. So pet detection, real-time tracking, the zero recording limit, meaning no 30-minute recording limit on video. And from what I've seen from reputable reviewers thus far, no overheating issues. This thing is kind of a dream come true for those of you that don't want a larger body. Now, yes, you're not going to have the customizable buttons. You don't have a joystick. But on the whole, this seems like a win across the board. Again, if you don't need a camera like this, if you already own something like the A7R4 or the A7 III even, granted, I would take this over the A7 III any day of the week, I get it. You're not interested in this. But for everyone else, especially the market that I feel Sony is going after, which are smartphone users, this is a brilliant offering. I mean, it is basically everything that their APS-C cameras could be without actually being it, because now we do have, of course, the advantages of the A6600 in terms of battery life, but the advantages of the full frame line in terms of overall quality capability. Yes, the in-body stabilization is still the 5-axis. We don't have active steady shot, which I wish they did. Yeah, the EVF you're seeing on screen right now is nothing to get excited about. You do get the benefit, though, of that new display that flips around that, of course, launched with the A7S Mark III, which I'm still waiting to review. But overall, I really think Sony got a lot right with this. Now, if I quickly jump over to their launch page for it, which I'm going to, I mean, again, I see this as being a really smart move on their behalf. A lot of people seem to think this was a pointless offering, an offering that nobody wants, and I completely disagree. And apparently sales reflect that too, because right now, one of the top-selling cameras, at least in terms of pre-orders, is the A7C kit. And you can get it in two different color combos. You can see there the silver and black or the traditional all black right here. And yeah, it's basically an APS-C body like the A6600. That is the most comparable since it accommodates the larger battery type, but it's got advantages all around. Now, the active steady shot I already mentioned, I really wish that was there. That I'm not forgiving Sony on, because when it comes to stabilization, if you're trying to pitch this at smartphone users or APS-C users that want more than what they currently have with their APS-C experience, leaving that out on an $1,800 body or a plus $2,000 kit with the lens you're seeing here, I kind of feel is inexcusable. So I can't say this is a perfect offering, but in terms of bringing, again, what I mentioned at the top of the video, which essentially is the A7000, I think this is a great first step. And if this is the beginning of bringing back the smaller form factor that we lost so many years ago, I'm excited, because the beauty of this is that, I mean, part of the reason I first started shooting with Sony was overall quality. Then it became Sony was giving you quality without any true, in my opinion, any true loss of image or video quality in a smaller package than any other manufacturer. And of course, the RX1 and the second gen RX1 prove that, wow, look at what Sony can do. Now, I'm hoping this doesn't mean that the RX1 line is dead. I really hope that's not the case. I kind of feel like this indicates that it is. I hope that's not the case. But if it is, at least we know we now have a compact full-frame camera, other than Sigma's offering, which from every angle, as small as it is seems like it's not going to be, I'm not going to even say not for everyone, but I don't know who it's really for. And I've reached out. I mean, I have contact with Sigma. I've yet to get one to review, so I'm not here to trash it, but I've yet to see a single positive review of that piece of equipment. And yeah, there are other options. You know, Canon has one as well. But if you're looking for a mature product that you know a manufacturer is going to stand behind and it's not going to be thrown away after the first generation, you're looking at it. And if you actually do care about body size and lens size, Sony is telling you you don't have to go heavy anymore like they have been evolving over the years with their mirrorless business that I've covered it. They are bringing us back to a lighter and I think more versatile form factor. So yeah, we're losing the customizable buttons. It has one SD card slot. It does have a headphone and microphone jack, HDMI. They did actually abandon the micro USB port. I mean, I'll do a little clap because I wondered how long that thing was going to continue to live. But remember, 10 frames per second, that 693-point autofocus system that is phase detection, 425 points of contrast, 223 in terms of headroom for JPEGs on the buffer, 115 on compressed RAW, 45 on uncompressed. I mean, this thing's a little monster. So everyone who's kind of, taking a dump on this, saying that it's not what anyone wanted, it's not what you wanted. But I absolutely see the market that Sony's after. It makes perfect sense. It has the advantage of having a display that now you can frame yourself with. The only thing I really take issue with, I already mentioned, is the lack of the steady shot, the active steady shot, to be clear, which means during video, that extra stabilization isn't going to be there. And I don't know why they omitted it. It must have something to do with hardware. If not, Sony, you better add that, because it's going to hurt this camera, not help it, and it won't cannibalize anything else. And then the other thing that I think is an issue is that EVF. I mean, it's obvious. The EVF right there is their good old APS-C EVF, which is better than nothing. But the last thing I want to say about a brand new offering like this is a better than nothing scenario. I love that it works with their pure digital shotgun mic that I already have basically permanently mounted to my A7R4. The dual band Wi-Fi, no surprise. No touchscreen capability like the new A7S3. But again, people who are expecting that, Sony has to differentiate product lines. And I get that if you think they're just targeting iPhone users, then they should have made a brand new, they should have given them the new UI and the fully capable touchscreen. But get real. I mean, again, Sony is testing the market. They want to see how this does. And I really ultimately see this as the A7000, the APS-C A7000, really. And that is what, for all intents and purposes, this seems to represent. Now, it'll be interesting to see how they evolve the lens lineup, because, this 28 to 60 millimeter f4, it's a start. But with the, the variable aperture, I'm not sure how great a job this is going to do. I mean, I've seen some performance from this in terms of what they released. You're seeing a little bit of it right there. Of course, I could take you to the full link. We can jump over to YouTube. I'll do that. But it's questionable. How much wider can they get without the lenses being tremendous and faster, of course. I mean, why wasn't, this is a kit lens, so my expectations aren't crazy, but the concept of them being able to give us new lenses that are going to be smaller without real sacrifice, that I think will ultimately make or break this. I mean, clearly, You can get out there and start shooting with this kit lens, and it looks fine, but I don't know what it's going to really practically do. And 28 isn't as wide as I would have liked to have seen. I will grant that 20 millimeters would have been preferable as a starting point. I mean, realistically, I would have loved to have seen 16 millimeters, but 20 would have been fine. I wouldn't even be talking about this. But still, I think Sony is not getting the credit, nor are they getting the acknowledgement that they should, that they are responding to customers. I have seen endless comments about people wanting to see a real flagship at the top of the APS-C line, and I think Sony created that. Yes, it's not APS-C. That's what makes it the top of the line. And I'm not worried about this cannibalizing cameras like the A6600. I think cameras like that are going to drop in price, and there is still a big enough gap there. And when people say, well, you could just get the A7 Mark III for a little bit more, I don't see why you would unless you absolutely, infinitely care about the EVF and don't care that much about the autofocus system, because in my opinion, the A7 III has advantages, but at the end of the day, those advantages do not supplant, in my opinion, the capability of the autofocus system that you have here. So I would not trade the autofocus system in this camera in favor of getting the benefits the A7 III has to offer. And that's including the EVF, frankly. And trust me, I want an EVF. I wear glasses. I am not a fan of this design. Anyone who's followed my reviews of Sony's APS-C cameras over the years knows that the APS-C, the location of it, of the EVF, let alone the resolution and quality, have never been a favorite of mine. I mean, pressing my face onto the camera because I'm left-eye dominant is not a good solution. And then if I'm wearing my glasses, forget about it. It's unusable. I can do a little bit better, of course, with any of the full-frame cameras that have a center-mounted EVF, but in this case, I'm not going to make any argument for what Sony's done. But overall, I think this was brilliant. The flash, I'm not so excited about. But again, at $1,800 US, I believe this will officially start launching or shipping in October. This seems to be a really smart move on Sony's behalf. So for everyone out there who's been saying this is a waste of time, this is a camera nobody wanted, I couldn't disagree with all of those people more. I really believe this is exactly what a lot of customers have been waiting for, and that's exactly why Sony has made it, because they know this is something that has been on the to-do list. And I wondered for years when Sony was going to bring back this form factor and give us, really high quality in a smaller body so that we don't have to keep making our systems larger and larger and larger. After all, I believe they became a game changer on not sacrificing still or video and making things smaller. So I see a return to that, and I think everyone should welcome this. Even if this isn't what you were waiting for and you're waiting for the A7 IV, this is progress, in my opinion, even if it's not the progress you desired. From a video standpoint, from a still standpoint, to get this sort of quality and capability in a smaller body is inherently going to be beneficial across the board. And guess what? This is going to go on sale. That $1,800 starting suggested retail, that is not going to stand forever. In fact, we all know it's going to be on sale, and I wouldn't be shocked if it's on sale for the holiday season, even though that's only a few months away. Remember, we're in the middle of a pandemic. I don't even know if it's the middle. It might only be the third of the pandemic with the way things are going. But I'm happy to see that Sony's brought back a top to the pyramid of their lighter APS-C lineup, and that's what I really consider this. The A7C really is the top of that pyramid, and again, that transition point for users that have APS-C lenses and started buying full frame just in case they ever went full frame, well, they can with this camera. Will there be a distribution issue? Sure, but if you own an APS-C camera and you're already using full frame lenses, this is going to be a much better pairing. And by the way, the door on the side for all of the I/O, I just hope this becomes standard across the board, because that side door for the I/O looks fantastic. And this does still have weather sealing. So again, I think this is great outside of the EVF. And of course, it's missing some customizable buttons that would be great to have. But again, I don't think they're targeting the pros with this camera. So this is basically the full frame for everybody else. And I think it's smart. That rounds things out. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe. And please stay safe. Later.